Kristi Noem calls off disastrous book tour, canceling hits on Fox News and CNN last minute. So she cancels promoting her book, no going back, literally no going back, amid intensifying scrutiny over controversial remarks, including admitting to euthanizing a puppy and falsely claiming to have met Kim Jong-un. CNN Dana Bash reveals the last-minute cancellation of Rob, can you prepare that clip I sent you from the Newsmax interview? Because that's the worst one. I mean, you're not going to be safe for anywhere else but being on Newsmax,
For
right?
sure.
You're going to be safe, on CNN. All the other guys are going to target you, but here she's safe. And you have to hear what the guy says to him. But this continues. Dana Bash reveals a last-minute cancellation of Noem's appearance on Inside Politics, stating Governor Noem was scheduled to be on this program. Her team reached out to us weeks ago. She abruptly canceled last night. Fox News' Greg Gutfeld expresses doubt over Noem's excuse of bad weather for her cancellation on Gutfeld, stating, I don't believe it. I hope she'd reconsider, but I'm not going to sit up and beg. Dana Perino, standing in for Noem, delivers a satire type of a critique speech on Gutfeld Show, jokingly admitting to killing another dog named Ghost Rider.
Well, in that case, she killed the right dog.
So watch this here. Watch how eloquently the guy gets to it, and then her answer. Go ahead, Rob.
But going back to what you said a moment ago, maybe not lying to the American people. And I think this is important to talk about because the book's called No Going Back, The Truth on What's Wrong with Politics. And I think part of the problem with politics today is that politicians aren't honest with the American people. So if you asked me a month ago, who's at the top of the list to run with Donald Trump, I would have said your name. If you asked me that same question this morning, I don't even think you're on the list.
Really?
So my question for you, yes,
Holy
really, and it's
shit.
because of things that have come out in this
Newsmax.
book, like your claims that you met Kim Jong-un. And then over the last week,
I've been to the DMZ. I've been to the area. What I've said
did you stare down Kim Jong-un? Let me, Governor, 1 second. I will give you an opportunity to respond. I just want to get this out there. So here's the quote from the book. You say that I remember when I met North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. I'm sure he underestimated me, having no clue about my experience staring down little tyrants. Governor, that never happened, did
What
it?
I have said in the book is that when I became aware of the content, that we had it changed. And that's the way that it is. So I should not have put that anecdote in the book. I'm not going to talk about my meetings.
But an anecdote indicates that it happened, right?
I'm not going to talk about my conversations with world leaders. I've been involved in policy for 30 years.
He says the most powerful
For 30
thing.
years, I've been traveling the world, talking to world leaders. And that is a conversation that I'm not going to have in this book.
Okay, great. Wait for it.
So I've answered that in interviews already. I've been very forthright, and I think that a typical politician wouldn't be that honest. As soon as it became to my attention, I asked for the content to be changed, and it has been.
Governor, I'm not asking you about the details of this alleged meeting. I'm asking if the meeting actually happened. I don't think it did. And I think if it did, you'd be able to confirm for me that, yes, it did, and here's when it happened. It happened, say, at such and such a date or a month, or you don't have to be specific.
I'm not going to talk about my conversations.
You're going to
with
continue
world
to have to answer this question then.
That's it.
I don't think so, because the average American citizen is more worried about the border. They're more worried about what we see in a White House and a president that since January has gone out there
he says, you're going to have to continue to answer this question, right? Okay. Keep playing, Rob. And then he says,
nobody pushes him on what he says, that he was imprisoned with Nelson Mandela,
this is
he
a safe
drove an
interview.
18-wheeler, that his uncle was eaten by cannibals,
You're
that he
on
started the civil
Newsmax.
rights
You're on
movement.
safe ground.
There is a hypocrisy in the media
You
today.
can't play this position. Others are going to be tougher on you than me. I'm a supporter. And she still goes back to this part here.
Go forward and give them a way that
fast
they can
forward to
elect
when he's
people
okay.
who want to
He's about to hit it.
represent them and
Watch
fight for
this,
them.
Governor, that's a very good point, and I'm not deliberately trying to be adversarial. Donald Trump winning in November is very important.
Yes, it is.
And I think that whoever he chooses to be his running mate, and again, I think at one point you were at the top of that list, but you're going to get questions a lot more difficult than that.
Bingo. I agree. Pause it right there.
Yeah.
He's right.
Yep.
This is Newsmax. You're in a safe county for her to go on, right? Hey, Rob, can you put the other one with, what's his name, Varney? That one of our guys said she lost it to the point where I had to comment and say there's nothing about her losing. She's just being pushed, and she doesn't want to answer. The one. Is this the one? How long is that, Rob?
53 seconds.
Okay, play. Go for it.
still think that you are in line to be Trump's vice president?
No, it's up to Donald Trump. He's the only person who will decide this. He's the only person who will decide. And I spoke. Yes, I do speak to him.
May I ask what he said to you about being vice president?
No, I never tell anybody my personal conversations.
Did
with
the dog story
President
come up
Trump.
in your conversation with
Trump? I talk to President Trump all the time.
About the dog?
About a lot of things. And right now, I tell you what, he is being persecuted.
She's good.
In a political witch hunt in this court case.
She's good.
So
she knows
I'm proud
how to
of him
balance
about how
and
tough
dodge.
he is and how well he is doing.
Did you bring up the dog?
Yes, enough, Stuart.
Did you
this
bring up the
interview
dog
is
with Trump?
ridiculous, what you were doing right now. So you need to stop. It is.
Okay.
It is.
We'll
Let's
stop.
talk about some real topics that Americans care about.
I'm afraid we're out of time.
Oh, well, of course we are.
We do thank you for being with us. I know I pressed hard, but that's what people are talking about to this day.
Yeah.
Governor Noem, thanks for joining us.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate it.
But you know,
We'll be back in
I
just
wish
a
we could
moment.
have had the camera on just for after this, because you know she was like, "What are you doing?
No,
what are you doing?"
This is not about what are you doing.
Stuart is not a jerk.
No, he's not.
Stuart is a
He's not.
balanced guy.
Neither was the other
She
guy.
just treated a friendly guy.
But it's going to be awkward when the
in a
cameras got off.
very
You know it's
poor
going to be
way.
awkward. Well, I mean, they're in there now.
Are
There's
you
no camera.
surprised? I mean,
No.
stand up and just make your give your position and state where you're at. Listen. Can you go to Dana White being asked about what happened New Year's Eve? Anyways, you don't need to find it because it'll take you a minute. You know what Dana said? He says, "Hey, do you feel? What do you have to say about what happened?" I said, "Look, you guys can keep asking these questions. No one here is more embarrassed than me, and not because of you." He says, "I have to answer this to my wife and kids. How hard do you think that is? You think I like that? You think they're going to get over it in the next week? How long do you think that's going to take? I'm going to have to deal with this with them. You guys are easy. That's where I lose, and I want to win there." And then you know what happened to media?
They went away.
She said, boom, gone.
Yeah.
She just making it.
So can I ask you a question,
Making it
PBD?
tougher.
Put yourself in her shoes, PBD. The moment this broke,
Yeah.
the moment it broke,
Yeah.
you shot dogs. You said you know they were biting.
Right.
You lied about the Kim Jong Un. What do you like? What's the first thing? And like on the Dana White approach, what do you say? Ask her, Kristi, to shut them all up right then and there.
Well, this is different. The reason why this is different is because she did the audio recording.
Yeah. Mhm.
So if you said it was a mistake, you're not going to do the audio recording for the audible of the book. It's your voice.
So do you say I lied? You say, listen, guys, I messed up. I lied. I'm done. Let's get over it. You move on.
Well, you have two choices here.
Yeah.
You have two choices here. One, you avoid it at all cost, and your career as a VP is done.
Yes.
Okay. Then the other part is you man up and you say, yeah, you know what? I didn't have face-to-face, but I did go over there, and that never happened, and I want to move on. And it was a fudge mistake that I made. Guess what? Then in that position, you're not going to be VP now, but you still have a political career later on.
Gotcha.
But the way she's taking it, she's hurting her long-term career. This is the reason why Rogan is loved. Okay. So you saw, Como was on a podcast, right, on Tuesday. And Como was training again yesterday. And you know what the clip a lot of people showed yesterday? They showed the clip of Como. And can you pull up that clip, Rob, if you got it?
And mind you, Chris says never apologize. Remember that?
I know.
Chris said never apologize.
I get that. But also, okay. So, but do you have the one that says that has that, and then what he says on the podcast? Because there's two of them. There's one that's match. There's one that he's at the top, and another one's at the bottom, or whatever it is. Okay, play this one. First, play what he says with the Don Lemon on the other side. Okay.
Injecting drugs
Watch
for
this.
animals and horse.
And people telling them to. Oh my God. What person? You talk about cancel culture and who to shame. Ivermectin, a dewormer, really?
They are shaming themselves. No one has to shame them. They're shaming themselves.
No, they need to
by
be shamed.
doing that. Yeah.
They need to be called out and shamed, brother.
Okay, so now watch the other one over here. Okay.
I'll tell you something else that's going to get you a lot of hits. I am taking a what do they call it? Like a regular dose, whatever. They're trying to build up of ivermectin. Ivermectin was a boogeyman early on in COVID.
You couldn't talk about it.
That was wrong. We were given bad information about ivermectin. The real question is why? Everyone's going to say Joe Rogan was right. No, Joe Rogan was saying, yeah, he was right. But that's not what matters. What matters is the entire clinical community knew that ivermectin couldn't hurt you. They knew it, Patrick.
Can you pause this?
I know.
So, okay. So you have a delicate situation like this, right? He's in a very delicate place. What kind of a place is he? How many years has he been on left-leaning media? How long?
20 years.
20 years?
That's a
How
longer
long,
than that.
how long has he been part of the liberal left Democratic community?
His whole life.
His father's a 3-term governor that almost ran for president, and some say he would have won. His brother's a 2-term Democratic governor in the state of New York.
Yep.
This is not
Who
like,
married into the Kennedys.
who married into the Kennedys, and this is like this is one of the most powerful Democratic last names in.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is he in his mind? Because when you're somebody that's been around this much, everybody's giving you advice.
Of course.
And you're getting advice from 50 different places. When you're only on one side, you're typically only getting advice from who? People that are on one side, which is actually easier to process advice.
For sure.
Did you understand what I just said? I don't know if this makes sense or not, because if I get 9 calls, all the 9 calls are saying what? The same thing.
Of course.
But now if you're flirting with being in the middle, the people that you defended that message for, ivermectin, warmer, this, and now you're taking it. Your previous side is furious at you.
Of course.
How could you say this? How could you say that? I'm sure there's a lot of people that are not happy with some of the positions he's taken, right? But then if you're staying there and being like, well, I'm not going to give the other side what they want, but I'm not also going to kiss their ass, I'm my own man, you lose sometimes in this situation.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of going through like, yeah. The problem with social media today is the good and the bad. What's the good and the bad? Bro, there's stuff I said 10 years ago on video that's there. There's stuff that right now, whatever you're saying, guess what? It's permanent. Yeah, check the camera. You got to look good because this is going to stay, right? Make sure you're looking good.
Yeah.
There's stuff that they're going to look that's going to be around forever, okay? My hair used to be bald, meaning not I used to be bald. I used to be bald. And I prefer that cut. Until today, I want to go back to it.
Don't do it, PBD.
I know. Nobody wants me to do it, but trust me, I prefer that. Yeah, that's what I prefer. I prefer that.
Yeah.
Then I prefer having hair because it's easier. Boom, boom, I'm out, right?
Yeah.
There was a picture posted. I look at the picture on the bottom right. Rob, click that one. Yeah, that one right there's the funny one. People were joking about, saying that I look like Obama. That was... Stop laughing. It's not funny. But by the way,
PBD.
This is what people don't know. Go to the picture above with me and Tico. This is the story most people don't know about. I come home one day. Tico decides to grab the clipper and he cuts his hair accidentally with a scissor. And then mom's like, babe, what do we do? I'm like, dude, are you freaking kidding me, Tico?
No.
So guess what I said? I said, don't worry about it. Let's together go get a cut. Smart. So I went and got a haircut with him like this. And we went and got the haircut together so he didn't feel bad. And look at this. He is furious that I took that picture with him. He can't be that upset because his daddy looks the same, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be stuff that we've said, the way we look, the way we do, that's not going to go away. That's permanent.
Yeah.
It's the challenge with social media. There is no hiding. If you said it, you said it. That's why when you look at, Joe's position. Remember when Joe apologized and everybody said, you should have never apologized. Should have never apologized. Should have never apologized. You know the whole thing when
with the N-word?
The Planet of the Apes or whatever, some of the stuff that came back from 15 years ago. Yeah. When's the last time that's been brought up?
Yeah, I haven't heard. I almost forgot.
Why though?
Because you apologize and you move on.
It depends on what you're apologizing about.
But
you should apologize for that.
But 10 years
ago. You don't own that.
No.
Like, I'll never apologize. No, my bad, bro.
No. But it's the internal battle that we all go through, guys. Like you went through it one time, right? We don't need to specify what it is, but you went through it one time.
I apologized.
Yeah, and you're like, you know what? You're right. I effed up, and then we talked about it and we moved on. There was a couple times you don't say you don't need to apologize.
Yeah,
exactly. It's just you and I talk about it. And we had a conversation privately. No one publicly needs to hear because that was not something that we need to come out and make that statement. But I think sometimes when you're going through it, dude, this is so freaking heavy for the individual.
Yeah,
because you're going through it, right? Hey, you got this or something. Shit, say, hey, Valuetainment is turning into a clickbait. You guys said she lost it. You pull up that post, Rob, that somebody said, you guys, and I started getting...
About Kristi Noem?
Kristi Noem. Yeah. Go to Instagram, And it's like, you guys, Valuetainment lost it. She never lost it, and da-da-da-da-da. So go to the post. Keep going down. I hope it's here. You can make, okay, right there to the right. Okay. So watch this here. Kristi Noem loses it on Fox News over dog question. You need to stop, right? Okay. So then I commented after looking at it, I'm like, I'm not even sure she lost it. I think she handled herself well, but she was pushed, and she didn't want to answer the question. We'll get some of these wrong, but we'll work on improving. Thanks for the feedback.
It's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Guess what? Yeah, you're right. We did, and I'm not going to point out who it was. I'm the CEO. I take full responsibility. It's me. They're guys that work with me. I need to have a conversation with them to go and have the talk with them. But this situation, when you're going through this with Kristi, man, she has to decide. Listen, reality check. You're out. And by the way, Trump supporters, MAGA, those of you who love her, okay? Those of you who thought she did a great job during COVID, you ain't alone. It's millions of people that thought she crushed it. Millions. She did a phenomenal job in South Dakota. She was a leader. She was tough. But this situation here is marketing, optics. This is, if Trump chooses her as a VP, this will not go away, okay? And for her to have chances of having this level of limelight of presidential VP level, she's going to have to go and go in her backyard and work with angered dogs and work on and do all this to kind of
the Michael Vick approach.
But all I'm saying is, you know, there are certain things that you come out and you do that's marketing disastrous. This is one of them. I think it's done for her.
I'll just give a quick feedback because we're talking about Kristi.
Especially the way she's handling it.
Yeah. But thank God she's beautiful.
I actually think she's handling it pretty well. Well, let's state the facts. Number one, she's having the worst week ever.
Yeah.
For a potential VP.
Yeah.
She went on to these safe media outlets. What was it? Fox Business with Stuart Varney. And then she went on to, what was it? Newsmax. These are safe spaces. Respect to the journalists for actually doing their job. Left or right. Hey, you said this. We're going to hold you accountable.
Yeah.
Why'd you do this? What he should have said, or he kind of did say, she said, quote unquote, I'm not going to have conversations. I'm not going to reveal what I said with conversations with world leaders. You didn't have the conversation with world leaders. You actually never met him. So you have to figure out how to own it, but also spin it and move on. Because she is right. Nobody cares about the Kim Jong-un thing. The important thing is you don't get stuck in the mud and get mud trapped here. But you know how in sports, they say you want to hit your stride at the right place. You want to be ascending versus descending. Like the wild card team that basically was out of the playoffs and all of a sudden they win 10 in a row and make it to the playoffs or hitting their stride. She's the exact opposite of that. She was doing well all season. She's just lost 7 out of her last 8 and she's declining. Now, she's neck and neck with Mike Pence for the likelihood of being VP. What's the likelihood that Trump is going to have Mike Pence run it back one more time?
Never.
0. So she's had a horrible week, and she got literally caught. No, not literally. Sorry. She got caught in a lie and with her pants down. So tough week for Kristi Noem.
You know, this is not something to go Google Kristi Noem pants down. He's just saying like, I know I'm
figuratively speaking.
No, you got to be careful with people that English their fifth language. He's just saying figurative speech for the Middle Eastern community watching this. Go ahead, Tom.
You know, I think you look back. America typically is a forgiving country if they think that there's sentiment and authenticity. You know, Bill Clinton had been triumphantly reelected and then looked into the camera, left the press conference with his finger in the air like that and said, I did not have sex with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. And then he stormed out. And then he had his press secretary and all of his proxies denying it. And guess what? You know, Ken Starr said, okay, well, we'll just get a subpoena. We'll take a little blood here and we'll do the DNA on the dress.
We'll take a look at the dress.
And guess what happened? He then goes before the American people and says this. Indeed, I did have a relationship with Miss Lewinsky that was not appropriate, period. In fact, it was wrong, period. I misled people, period, including, comma, even my wife. I deeply regret that. I am having to become quite an expert in the business of asking for forgiveness, period. He said it just like that. You break it all down, you say, guess what? You went from denying it to admitting it. He said it was wrong, even my wife, and I'm having to become an expert here. And you know what? Part of America didn't forget it, but by the end of his term, the economy and everything else was moving in the right direction. And America, you know, part of America kind of forgave that and moved on. But Kristi Noem is yet to walk to the microphone and explain or apologize. And every time she does one of these interviews, including going after the normally sedate, aging business reporter who's usually a very gentle, straightforward guy, Stuart Varney, you go after him?
Stuart.
I mean,
Don't
she's
be an
got
ageist,
to press the pause button and say, I
So
got
you're
together.
the one that wrote that thumbnail.
Was it you, Tom?
No.
Loses it.
I'm really sorry. Please don't fire me.
But by the way, I think Tom, the whole thing that you read from Bill Clinton, he didn't have to read any of that. He should have just looked into the camera.
By the way, if you guys were at the Derby, the way we handled this betting, we probably would have been betting on Kristi Noem at the Derby.
Oh, for
Because
sure.
40 to 1 odds, $100 gets you, nice $4,000.
We certainly left behind some assistance for the people of Kentucky.
Look at our
yeah,
friend.
for sure.
Look at our
Ron
friend Tulsi
DeSantis,
up
25 to 1.
I think Tom.
Tim Scott is still
that-
holding
What were you
steady
saying?
at
Bill
numero
Clinton,
uno.
Bill
Tim
Clinton
Scott.
read that in front of the American people, right? Like he looked at the camera and apologized.
Yeah.
He didn't have to read any of that. He should have just looked right in the camera and said, "Have you guys seen my wife? I had to do it. I had to hook up with her. Monica, I needed her. Hillary,
Can
come here."
you imagine? Like, save me. I'm in danger.
Blink
Can you
twice.
imagine?
Blink twice.
You know,
Sure, please.
and you got
Help me.
Buford in Alabama with the Budweiser
But-
puts the can down and says, "Honey, get in here. Look at this.
Oh my God.
For the first time in my life, I think President
By the
Clinton
way-
has a point."
By the way, have you seen Hillary Clinton when she was younger? She was actually attractive when she was younger. Have you seen it? I know this is kind of
No.
wait.
What kind of left-wing public outlet is this? Ridiculous.
Wait, no. I'm telling you, she's actually. Listen, look at that. Good for her. She's actually not
40s.
bad. She looks good when she was young.
Guys,
But
here's her
age
next
gets all of
campaign.
us.
Here's her next campaign
Looks
slogan.
are looks. I don't pick on looks.
Hillary Clinton.
Let's go after position.
Not that bad. There it is.
What did you say?
I said looks are looks. It's hard to pick on.
You say go after positions.
Go after the
Kids watch this show, Tom. What do you mean? Let's go after positions.
Jerome in the attic,
political
his
position.
position.
Political position.
Political,
Okay, got it.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.